well.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. All right. Welcome, Angela, and welcome to everyone who's watching us live or on the replay. I love chatting to Angela. She just has this amazing wisdom to share with us all through nutrition, and I mean, I'll get her to talk to you in a moment too. But what I love about her work is also she works a lot with menopause, and being the older woman, I think that's really, really important, us showing us a different way. However, today, that we might segue into a bit of that, because again, spirit just works through both of us, because we know each other well. But today, Angela, would you like to introduce yourself and go a little bit what we're going to be talking about?
Okay, thanks, Chantel. So hello to everybody who's watching us, either watching us live or watching us on the recording. So my name is Angela Counsel, and I'm on the other side of Australia from Chantel. So I'm over in Sydney, but I do all my work online anyway. So I'm a naturopath and kinesiologist, and I work with women who are transitioning through the menopause stage of life, just to help them to embrace the changes that are happening to their body, to their life, and everything that's going on, and the turmoil that sometimes can arrive. And when Chantel asked me to come back on and have it, because I've had other conversations with Chantel before, we thought that this is a really good time for us to be talking about immunity because of what's going on in the world. Having been a naturopath for the last 17 years, immunity is part of what I've been doing for a very, very long time. Yeah. So we're going to talk about immunity, what you can do to strengthen your immunity, why it's so important to strengthen your immunity, and what will stop you from actually having a strong immune system. So
I love that,
Chantel.
Thank you. And at the end, Angela is going to put an offer or explain a little bit more to you how you can get in contact with her, and then we'll put that into the comments as well so people know. And I will every now and again look down at Facebook just in case people might be commenting. We will just see where we go. So I think at the moment, Angela, why I'm really glad you offered that, and I'll just give a little bit of where I'm at for people too. I just had about 5 weeks ago the diagnosis of diverticulitis. Now I know that's not necessarily immune, but I got such a shock, because I've been so careful with my body, and my partner and I really care for ourselves. We eat well. But what the important thing with this was not only the diagnosis, because I didn't get it and I didn't understand how serious it could get, but I didn't listen to my body, Angela. I let it go that far, few months, where I didn't listen to the aches and pains, and I meant to be this girl that's in contact with her body and in touch. Stabbing pains and pain all the way through to my back. Months. Now, now I'm realizing now, you see, I was in pain. I suppose that would be, lowering my immune system, and I wasn't caring for myself. So not that that's completely related, but I'd love you to sort of segue how important is it for us to really listen and care for us and therefore our immunity?
Oh, it is essential. It's probably more important than the foods that you put in your body. So the way our body works, we're going to start with stress, because stress plays a major role in what's going on here. And a lot of people are very stressed at the moment. So when we have a stress response, so there's a part of our brain, which is our reptilian brain, it's sitting at the back, and it's our fight, flight, and freeze. So at any time when that part of the brain gets activated, it either goes into, I'm going to fight, I'm going to run away, or I'm just going to freeze. So, but that then triggers the release of some hormones. First off is adrenaline, and when adrenaline comes out, the heart rate beats faster, we sweat a bit, and that's designed to get us to run away. And then after that, we have cortisol. Now, cortisol is our long-term stress response, and it will release every 12 seconds for as long as the body thinks that or the brain thinks it's under stress, and that can be years.
Wow.
Because we live in a highly stressed world. We live in a world whereby we're being dinged all the time. We've got notifications coming at us all the time. And whilst we know that a notification from our phone is okay, the brain doesn't. It just gets this noise and it goes into a bit of a what's going on. And, you open up your emails, and then particularly now, like you see the word COVID-19 all the way in your emails, or you look at the news, and everyone's telling you how we're all going to, if we don't stay in our homes, that everyone's going to get really sick. All this stuff is just coming at us. So we're all running. I would say 90% of Australia, if not more, is running on their adrenals at the moment, and their cortisol levels are through the roof. Now, one of the things is when our cortisol levels are high, it actually lowers our immune system.
Yeah.
And there is a reason for this, because when in our evolution, when we used to be roaming the plains of whatever and living in caves and whatever, when we were under stress, it was a very, very short term. And we just had to be able to get up. We had to get away from whatever the danger was, whatever was going to, possibly eat us. And at that time, the body needs to put all its resources into getting away from the threat. So it actually stops the immune system, because at this stage, the immune system doesn't need to be doing its stuff. It doesn't need to be taking the resources, because all the brain wants to do is to move the body away from the threat. But now we live in a world where we are constantly being bombarded, and when our cortisol levels are high, our immune system is low. And we see this, I'm sure many people who are watching this video who have very, very stressful jobs or very, very stressful lives, and they go on holidays, and the first thing that happens is they get sick.
Yes.
Because all of a sudden we have dropped our stress, and the immune system goes, oh, now I can do my job.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And, and I've been hearing you, but where I'm stuck at is every 12 seconds.
Yeah.
And that I find interesting, because having been brought up in a very stressful home, so violence, and then I had my own nervous breakdown. The father died, who was the perpetrator. Then, I've just gone blank. A complete nervous breakdown. I've never really been able to recover. And I've only just recently, I've been seeing the psychologist on and off, but she said to me, I'll never get full cortisol levels back, because my body's so used to being on that level.
Alert.
On that alert. So even though I'm a lot calmer than I've ever been, but I've noticed, as you said, with all this anxiety, guess what? I've triggered.
Yes.
Automatic, like you said, it's automatic.
Yeah.
Amazing,
because we get cortisol resistance. Our body gets used to, but if we're continually being stressed and our cortisol levels are up, say they're normally here. I'm going to kind of try and describe this. This is a normal level, just say, but we're constantly stressed. So we get to this level. So we've moved our base from here to here.
Yeah.
But the high level's here. So we've actually got less of a place to react than when we were down here. So we become resistant to the cortisol, because we can't survive without that level of cortisol. If it drops any lower back to where it should be, we basically run out of energy, and there's nothing there, because we're resistant to the cortisol. Now, the other thing that happens when our cortisol level is high is our digestive system shuts down. So this is where you say you had diverticulitis, which is a condition of the digestive system. Long-term stress will cause that breakdown within the digestive system, because we can't digest our food. And once again, it's because evolutionary, we didn't need to be digesting our last meal when we were trying to get away from being the tiger's last meal. So this is just the way our body protects us. It's only got limited amount of resources. So when there's only a limited amount of resources, if the body's stressed, it will send all its resources to the key things it needs to be doing. And that's our heart. It's one of the reasons why people get high blood pressure. It's our circulation, which is also high blood pressure. It's our brain function, because we need to be able to think. Basically, just about everything else stops. And this is one of the reasons why we need to be really, really careful right now, because our collective consciousness is in a place of fear. And even if we think that we can be positive and we can be in love, we can do the love stuff and all of that, collectively, the consciousness is fear. And we keep, you could get yourself here, and I do it. I'm doing my sessions to try to rebalance it, but every so often it pulls me back again, because there is such a strong pull at the moment on a collective level, energetically, to put us into fear and to put us into a masculine energy, as opposed to being in a feminine energy of acceptance, and this will be okay.
No, and I agree with you, because coming back to, as you said, with my tummy, because this was happening just before it became you know, and I went to see an amazing kinesiologist. So you might, and she, interesting, what I was still holding in my body. There was fear. Then I thought I dealt with it until last week when everything's, and I started to introduce foods again. But I realized it was not only that, mum's care facility is in partial lockdown at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm sure to go into full. And guess what? End of last week, wham, I was like, I'd started diverticulitis all over again. I went into mega pain, back pain, could hardly move, could hardly eat. The fear, like you said, now I know, and now I'm aware of that. So what I would like people to hear, what we're saying here is, like you said, it's not just the food, our immune system, it is how we maintain our nervous system, isn't it, really,
yes, totally.
As well. And there is the collective anxiety, because mum's partly, got dementia, low level. Even though she's in a beautiful facility, she's still sensing what's coming in. You know, because even in the care facility, they're meant to stay in their rooms. They can't sit here. They can't do that. They can't do this. So even though she's well protected, she's actually now starting to feel the fear.
Yeah. And it's collective consciousness, and you know what collective consciousness does.
Yes.
And that's where we are at the moment. We have a worldwide pandemic on fear. Yes, we have a pandemic on virus, but we also have a pandemic on fear. And I think that's greater than it's going to have greater damage and greater effect than the pandemic on the virus. The virus is a virus, and the virus requires humans to survive. And if humans do what humans need to do, the virus will eventually, it'll just go.
Yeah.
But the fear, I don't know what we're going to require a big shift to clear that collective consciousness of fear. But what you were talking about before, particularly when it comes to food, a lot of people, and a lot of women in particular, when they're stressed, will go for comfort foods.
Yes.
So, and this once again is part of our genetics, and a lot of the women I work with, so I work with personalized health, which is based on your genes and everything, and a lot of the women I work with are sitting in a genetic profile where they tend to be holding a little bit of weight. Yes. They have a mothering, whether they're a mother or not, but they have a mothering, nurturing personality. They need to make sure that their tribe, their family, or their immediate tribe is safe. And for some of them, they need to have a lot of order. Now, my genetic profile is I need to have order and I need to have certainty. So for a lot of women right now, they don't have that. There's very little certainty going on in the world. Many of us have got disrupted routines. I know now I've got 2 kids who are home and they're doing online schooling. And even this morning, because I've been doing quite a few interviews, I've already been told I'm too noisy. I've had to reclaim back, this is my office, which my daughter was in, but I had to reclaim back this office so I could speak and I wasn't making so much noise. So the routines are out, space is out, our order and our space is out. For some, like you've got worries about family, your mother. Then there's other women who are worried about what's going on with their kids. Where are their kids safe? Bringing them back home is what a lot of women want to do if they've been living out. It's like they want to protect them.
Yes.
And if they can't satisfy the certainty, if they can't bring their family back into their fold under their arms, this causes stress. And when they're stressed, their first response is to go to food. They start feeling hungry, and they'll feel hungry for the foods that immediately make them feel good. And that will be generally sugar and the processed foods. And when we take sugar, it lowers we know there's research that shows us that whenever we eat something sugary, it lowers our immune system for a minimum of 5 hours. So if we're continually eating sugar, we're continually lowering our immune system.
Now, this is why I needed to talk to you and have this conversation, and I'll need to pick out some of these things afterwards, because we don't really, as a whole, we're not educated on this, are we really, Angela?
No,
we're not educated. I mean, I had no idea about that. I've got a vague idea about not to eat sugar, but I didn't understand
the impact
and that another level of that,
Yes, and also, but it's also, I think we need to understand why we're all of a sudden craving this food, and it's because we don't feel safe, because things are uncertain. So then, and this is the work that I do with clients, is what can you do to feel safe? So for example, because a lot of my clients, their kids have grown up and maybe they might be overseas or they might not be living at home. So you might not be able to bring them home, but is there something that you could do that allows you to feel okay that they're safe? And that might be, and the same for you. It's like, can I FaceTime? Can I call? Can I connect with them on a daily basis so that I know that they are safe and I don't need to worry about it? And so when you do that, you reduce your stress. For those people who need certainty and need order, well, okay, things are now different. So for me, we're different now because we've got everybody home. So what order can I put in place so that I feel a certainty? I can't have a certainty about what's going on out in the world. So I do tend to try and not take too much of that on. But what can I do in my space and my time to give myself certainty? And when I can do that, I drop my stress. So then my immune system, because then I don't go looking for the foods that don't support my body. And when I've dropped my stress, my immune system goes up. So it's all these other things that we can do. And yes, we'll talk about food in a minute, specific foods. But it's so, and for some people, it's like, well, now all of a sudden they needed a purpose. Getting up and going to work every day was their purpose. And if they're not going to work every day because they've lost their job or their job situation has changed, they need to have a purpose. Now that purpose might be, growing a garden, but they need to have a purpose. So some people need to have a purpose every single day. Other people need to be moving and they need to be, continually active. What can they do? And this is a lot of people that like personal trainers or trainers, they need to keep active. So what can they do if all of a sudden their business is no longer there? They still need to keep active. They can't sit on the couch and watch Netflix because that will stress them. So it's really understanding what are your stress triggers, because everybody's stress triggers are different. And there's one group of people, and that's what we call connectors. And I'm seeing this so much online at the moment, is once they're being sent home and they've been told to isolate, and I don't like the word social isolation. So all of a sudden you are seeing groups being popped up everywhere. Everyone's got a group. Let's go in here. Let's connect. Let's do online calls, because these people need to be connected. And all of a sudden their face-to-face connection has been taken away from them. So now they're going, how can I connect? Because they're really, really stressed. And when they're stressed, they'll eat the foods that don't work for their body. So they're kind of, they're trying to find another way to get their connection hit. They have to get their connection hit. And I'm seeing this so much with so many people I know, because I'm getting so many invitations to new Facebook groups, to online meetup calls. It's like, I could fill my entire day sitting in these groups, meeting other people, and it's like, and I'm not one of those personalities, so that genetically I'm not a connector, so that's fine. I just need my space, so I can drop in every so often and pull back out. I'm fine on my own. I'm quite good on my own, but it's just amazing seeing these people. And because now I know a lot about this personalized health and how, the personalities that go with different genetics and all of that, it's just amazing to watch it all unfold, because because they're in stress, they go back to who they truly are. You just see it, and it's just, I'm just sitting there just watching and going, yep, I know what type you are. I know what type you are. Yep, you can just see it. I don't even have to do the measurements anymore to work it out, because I can just see it, because they're all in stress. So when they're in stress, they'll revert to who they truly are.
I find that really interesting. I think coming back to what you're saying about wanting to bring your family on, because as you know, we've talked about this in previous ones, not being a mother. But what I realised is I'm still mothering, because my niece was trying to get back from Melbourne to Perth before the borders closed. And she was doing everything right with her partner, but they had the car. And so I'm thinking, yippee, they'll get back in time. I was trying to work it all out, but she didn't get in touch. I could feel my stress levels going up.
Yeah.
My mum kept phoning. She kept forgetting. Had I been in touch? Had she been in touch? I had to really respect my niece. And then finally, I got a message, oh, Auntie, our car broke down in South Australia, even though they had it serviced. Then I could feel myself getting angry with the service people. How could you have not taken care for this car? Suddenly they're on this bus somewhere, and she didn't give me information. So of course, guess what?
Yeah, that's
So my
right.
levels went up, mum went up, and I was trying to deal with mum, trying to say, mum, I've got to allow her to phone when she's ready. So it was really interesting. Then
Yeah.
finally last night at about 7 o'clock or 7:30, sitting on the couch watching TV, and we've got bing, we're in WA. And I'm not kidding. Ooh.
Good down. Yep.
I went right down, phoned my mum, and she went, isn't, yeah, so like you said,
Yeah.
I could feel myself anxious until I'd actually heard from her.
And there's other people that wouldn't be concerned. They would just go, oh, it's okay. She's on a bus. She will get here.
Yeah.
And that's not saying that's right or wrong. It's just that's how we all respond differently to stress.
Yes.
Every one of us is different in the way that we respond to stress. But when we are stressed, it's like, what can I do to bring that stress down? Because whilst we're stressed, we're lowering our immune system, we are not digesting our food properly, and then we're getting ourselves into more and more issues, health issues on a physical level.
Yes, and I like that. So I think also something I'm having to reassess too, we also become used to a certain routine. So like you said, we get up, do this, do that, rush, get to work, come back, blah, blah, blah. So suddenly we're all, because that's all blown out, how do we be now? So I know with mum, I think what I'm finding interesting, because I've withdrawn a lot too over the years. So even though I used to be the social one, I'm not. But what I found interesting was the freedom. For me, it's like I don't have the choice to be able, or the freedom to be able to go and have a coffee somewhere, see mum when I want. That is what I'm finding hard. Staying home, not an issue at this point. So, but the stress for me at low level at this point is, oh, I can only see mum from this time to this time in this way, not that way, can't have lunch, and then eventually it might stop altogether.
Yeah. So for you, you have to find a way which brings the stress down a little bit, so you're continually being able to connect with your mother in some way.
Yes.
In a way that you know she's okay on all levels.
Yes.
And because you don't have the freedom at this stage to go and visit her because of everything that's happening, it's like, so what can you do? And you will know the answer to that is like, can you get in contact with where she is, the nursing staff? Can they give you a daily update or whatever it is? It's like, because you have to come up with the answer. I mean, anyone can make suggestions, but you know what works.
Yes.
And you know what will drop your stress. But you look and say, well, we've got to do this differently. What would make me feel okay to know that she is safe? What do I need to know that she is safe and that I don't need to physically be there? And then you set that up, and that becomes your new routine for the next couple of months. That is your new routine. So you sit then into a new routine going, on Monday, I'm going to do X. On Tuesday, I will do Y. And now you create a new routine based on what we've got now.
And I like that. So what I'm hearing is, and I'm going to just reflect it back, so women or whoever is listening, it's about each of us really reassessing what is important for us. So that's what I'm finding. So I've been doing this. Now it's all been blown out of the water. I'm now in this in-between in chaos, but what can I do here? Because I can't do that. So I need to sit quietly here and go, right, if I don't do this, this makes me stressed. If I do this, this doesn't make me stressed. So really that's what we're doing is, I suppose in a way, you could go through, if you meditate or if you sit quietly, if you write, whatever you need to do, is then you just go quietly through, well, I know, okay, we'll use my mum as the only thing at the moment she can use is the phone still. She doesn't get technology at all. So can't FaceTime. So I've had to eliminate Zoom, FaceTime, all those things. And basically okay, I can phone her every single day.
Yeah. And if that makes you feel, if that brings your stress down, that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
But if you've still got a bit of anxiety, you would then go, well, could I get the nurse to take a photo and send it to me or something like that?
Yes.
See, so it's like, what makes you feel good? But also for those who are watching, it's also important to know that some people are thriving this time because they love chaos. There are people out there, I don't get it, but they love chaos. They thrive in chaos. They thrive in being able to make quick decisions. And the thing that's actually stressing them is because they're stuck at home, because they're not allowed to go out, and they can't be out there doing this, and this. That's what's stressing them. They love the chaos, but they can't be in everything. And that's what we need to recognize, is that we are all different. And, whilst, yes, I need order, you need order, you need to know that, you know, everyone's okay. There are people out there at the moment who they were made for this.
Yeah.
And if they were allowed to get out there and make decisions and maybe do a better job than what our government's doing, we won't get into politics, they get out there and they would actually have this whole issue completely sorted, because that's what they were designed to do.
Yeah. Oh, I think, as you said, it's interesting to see different people's personalities. And I think that's why I go on and off social media and that, because it's also some people I don't get. You know, I've noticed a lot of people judging other people. Initially, I did judge a few things that were happening. I thought, whoa, stand back. Because it's about just accepting, like you said, accepting each other for who we are. I might not get them, or like you said, they might not get me, but that's okay, because this is now sorting out who are we as individuals and how do we actually want to be in this. Yes. I think coming back to the digestive bit, what was interesting was when I did have the kinesiology, and this is coming back to, and my bowels were actually quite blocked, which I didn't realize, emotionally as well as physically, which I didn't get. And I realized that I think a lot of us, well, actually I believe, and I think you've just said it, confirm, a lot of us live in a low level of anxiety and fear every day anyhow.
Yep.
Anyhow.
Yep.
You know, I thought I was handling it well. I got such a shock, as I got such a shock when she phoned me out, my GP, and said, you've got diverticulitis. And when I went and looked, I said, what? You know, no, I don't live in that blah, blah, blah.
But you have, and you have, and the damage didn't happen, you know, 3 months ago.
That's right.
The damage has been happening for years and years. It's just got to a stage whereby it started to cause you pain. Yes. The damage has been there for a very, very long time. And this is one of the good and bad things about our body is absolutely fantastic at self-correcting. And even we can get to a 60% disorder within our body before it starts to show us symptoms. It gives us little niggles and we just ignore it. Because it's continually speaking to us and we just keep going on. And it's not until we get that, you know, we're in the last 40% that all of a sudden the pain gets that bad. But we've actually had that condition going on for that entire time. But we've ignored all of the little, it's a bit like, you know, I'll send you, you know, I'll just give you a little nudge and then I'll give you a bigger nudge and then I'll give you a bigger nudge and then I'll send you a Mack truck. Because you're going to listen to me then, and then you get bowled over and now I'm in pain, now I want to fix it. And we've got years of work that we have to do to fix what's going on because it's taken us so long to get there before. Well, it's taken us so long to wake up.
Yes, and I think it is, and you know, if there's one message that whoever's watching this take, and I've just seen Amy is with us, Amy Jade, she said hi, thanks for sharing, so, which is lovely. I think if one message I'm going to take from this is that let's listen more to our bodies, like you said, because it has been a build-up. We don't understand because we're quick to, I'll go and take a Panadol, or I'll just ignore that, or I haven't got the time, I haven't got the money. And like you, as you said, I'm still going to say it, I got such a surprise that this had been happening in my body out of my awareness. So how many of you sitting here, take a breath, let's be honest, how many of you or us actually sitting here going, you know what, perhaps I've been doing that too?
All of us, I would guarantee every single one of us have something going on with their health that they don't know about.
Yep.
It is part of living in the 21st century world. We are being bombarded with chemicals, with radiation, all of this stuff is coming to us, but our body is great in that it is kind of keeping us going. We don't break down, because if we broke down at the first time we ate something that wasn't good for us, well, none of us probably would have made it past infancy these days. So it's like the body's great and it continues to try and rebalance itself and is, you know, changes things and does all these things, and we really should be so grateful for what our bodies do, instead of when we do get sick we blame our bodies and say my body's broken.
Yes.
And your body isn't broken. Your body's actually done exactly what you wanted it to do. It's just you ignored it till it got to the stage where it couldn't do it any longer. It's like it's gone for years and years and years, and you know, all the stress and everything, and then finally it's gone, you know, actually I can't do this anymore, I need some help, I need you to give me help. And that's not always taking a pill. That could be, I need some sleep, I need some rest. It could be anything.
Yes. I agree. And I think the other thing what I realize is we don't take the time to, I don't call it self-care, I call it caring for self, because for me that has a slightly deeper sense of that. So I think a lot of us, even though we eat well, I realize we still talk, for example, I need to have soups, pureed soups for 2 weeks. Let me tell you, by the end of it, I was souped out, even though I loved it. But having said that, it was what I realized was we don't do things to soothe our bodies. And this coming back to the digestive system. So we actually made beautiful fresh chicken broth or beef broth. Then I got all the fresh veggies and I loved making it. My partner did it with me. So why I'm sharing that with you is that we no longer take the time like our mums and nanas did, where we communicated, we sat in the kitchen, we did all these beautiful things, we sat down, we ate together, we ate good, wholesome food. And I can tell you, Angela, my body went, thank you. I've lost 6 kilos, nearly 7. I haven't craved sugars even in that time. I feel alive. My partner says at least I've lost 1 chin. There's nothing, I've lost more. But, you know, it's to make the humour in that, because that's what it's all about. I feel alive again.
Yeah, and you're actually looking really good.
Yeah, I feel it. And I'm 57. So, yeah, so why I'm sharing some of my personal side. So I love you, Angela, doing that side. Then I can bring the personal side to show people what we actually as individuals need to think about. What are we doing? Is it, as you said, sleep? Is it food? Is it rest? Is it what are we not doing, even when we think we are doing it?
That's right. And it's being actually, well, if you can really tap into your body, it will tell you what foods it needs. It will tell you what sleep you need. Most people can't, which is why I do personalized health, because what you've just done for your body in taking the soups and all the plants and all of that, that's excellent for your body. But you give that to another body that needs lots of protein, that needs to be active, the person who's running around, that won't work for them, because they need a different diet. And this is why I used to think, you know, trained as a naturopath, that, you know, we'll talk, this is the way people eat, you know, keto diet, this, and this. But now that I do personalized health, I realize that the diet that works for one person doesn't work for someone else. And I used to always, and also it depends on your state of life, because I used to do keto quite a lot. But now that I'm menopausal and my hormones are different, keto doesn't work for me. And I need to be primarily plant-based, which I do. And I too have lots of soups, lots of plants, don't have very much meat at all these days. And meat used to be like 3 times a day. Yeah. Every single, you know, every meal I'd have some type of animal protein. It was either eggs or meat. Now I will have a small bit of animal protein for lunch, and I don't have it any other time of the day. And my body, once again, is thriving on that, because I'm eating for what my body requires. But I know that someone else couldn't survive on what I'm doing, because they need more carbs or they need more protein. So it's, once again, it's like when you actually listen to your body, you'll know, because you say you feel better. But we've been indoctrinated with a lot of stuff over the years. So it's not until we actually make that change and we go, oh, hang on, now I feel better. Before that, it's like, well, I was taught I must have protein at every meal. I was taught that. I mean, that's what I was taught. I was a nutritionist. That's what I was taught. I now know that having protein at every meal is not good for my body. I actually won't lose weight on it, and it actually inflames me. So it's like we have to get rid of what we've been indoctrinated with. And sometimes that's why, and when I work with my clients, is I go, okay, this might be different to the way you've always eaten, but let's try it and see how it works. Give it a couple of months and let's see the difference that it makes, rather than you telling me I always need to be eating protein every time. That's a habit, and it's because it's too hard to connect to your body, because it does have to withdraw from protein, or it does have to withdraw from carbs to start with. But once it withdraws and you put it on the food that it needs to survive, you will feel so much better. You will drop the weight. Your immune system will boost. You know, your face will light up. Everything, when you actually make the changes. And you had to do it because you had a medical condition. But I'll tell you that is actually what your body required. And it needs more plant food than it does the proteins, which are really hard for it to digest.
That's exactly right. And it's interesting you say that. That's why I think it's wonderful, coming back to that, you're doing this interview with me, and and women really start thinking about, and as I said, later on, we'll talk more about what Angela does. You've got an idea. Because yes, I did need that, because I wasn't, when I look back now over the last few months, I was in denial, basically.
Oh, we all are. Can't we do it? I did the same thing.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. Whereas now, because I've been forced to clear it all out, and it was only through soups, because like, you know, I didn't realize with diverticulitis, you've got to have soothing stuff to help the inflammation, to help it to heal. So I got that. So I thought, okay, I've done really well here. I'll bring some stuff in. Guess what I did? Oh, I hate embarrassed. I decided to have a boerewors one, a little bit of it. Oh, and I had something else the next night. Man, I went straight back into pain, because again, I didn't fully listen. Whereas now I just go instinctively. Do I want that? My body goes, no, I don't have it.
Yeah.
Do I want that?
Sleep.
Yeah, it's amazing. And where I've also been lucky, and I think a lot of people don't have this, I have a lot of support from my partner, and we don't have to feed children. So it's made it easier, because I could be very selfish in that space. And my partner just came with we just did separate meals, but you know, that was fine, because he didn't, you know, so I was really fortunate. We do need to be supported in this, I feel, as well, Angela.
Correct. And sometimes, I mean, I have kids, but my kids are older, and it's like, if they don't want to eat, I make my own meals, and I often don't even have dinner these days. And dinner's the main thing, because they sort themselves out for the rest of the meals. So just eating dinner is like, sometimes I will just make a bowl of veggies that are just for me, and they have everything else. But we also have to start getting a bit selfish. It's like, regardless of everybody else that's going on, you know, we as women put ourselves out to serve our partners and our children. Sometimes we actually have to serve ourselves first, because unless we get well and we feel and look the way we want to, it starts to put resentment. It's like, well, why am I cooking you a meal and then I can't eat it? And it's like, maybe you could just eat, you know, in our case, maybe you could just eat vegetarian for a little while at dinner time. The other 2 meals of the day, that's fine, you eat what you want. But at dinner time, maybe we all eat the same thing, because I don't want to cook 2 meals. For me, as I said, it's not an overly big issue, because I will just have a cup of bone broth, and I'm quite happy with that, and I can sit at the table with a cup of bone broth. Or if I am doing veggies, I do, you know, a meat and veggies or something, I just have the veggie portion, and so I can work that out. But I also am very, very clear right now what it is that I want first, and I put myself first before what they want. It's like, well, okay, if this is what I'm doing, if you don't like it, get your own meal. Yeah. It's like, and I would never have done that in the past, but now it's like, okay, I need to put myself first, because I'm not the person who's been with me from the day that I drew my first breath, and I'll be there till the day I draw my last. I'm the only person who's been consistent all the way through. No one else has. Yeah. And I think our children need to learn that too, that it's okay to put yourself first.
Yes, I do. I agree with you. A lot younger than our generation and those above. And what I'm hearing you say is, and this is what I've needed to learn to do, and I think a lot of us as women, find your voice.
Yep.
And don't feel guilty. You know, when we hear that word selfish, oh my God, there's guilt, and you're not being loyal, you're not being there for everyone else. You know, got to give. So I think, and I love that. And I think it also comes with age, because we're both, well, I should really speak for myself here, so I'm just giving that away.
I think we're both the same age, actually.
Yeah, we are the same age, that's right. So, you know, exactly right. So I think it also comes with the age that we are at, because then it's like, you know, it's okay to actually think that. And that's why, again, I want to doing that movement Grand Divine, because I want women to see at a younger age to get some of this into them before they hit our age.
Yes.
If it can. I mean, obviously you've got to go through the different stages, I get that. But I think it is okay for you. I love you saying it's okay for me to have what I want. And it's actually okay to say to the others, excuse me, can you support me here too? But it's finding this voice.
Yes.
It's actually, it can take courage. It takes vulnerability, because sometimes we don't have people in our lives. Either they are literally not supportive, or they haven't thought to be supportive because you haven't actually asked them.
Yeah. And some of them are different personalities, so they don't get it. Because they don't need to. So my husband is one of, like, he's what in personalised health we call a crusader. So his focus is, what's his purpose? He is all about the data. I just need to give him he needs all the information. And he's very, very focused. So I'm on the other side, someone who needs to feel good, or it's all a bit fluffy, and he's kind of going, just tell me. And I'm there going all the fluffy words, and he says, just give me the information. And when I give him the information, he can make a decision. And this is the same here, is like understanding that people are different, and the way we communicate. If we want someone to do something, sometimes we have to communicate in their language, not in ours. Because if they're not the same genetic profile as what we are, they won't get what we're saying. Okay. And some of them will just dismiss what we're saying, depending on what their genetic profile is. Some people will just dismiss, others will listen. It depends on who they are. But yeah, sometimes it's like, you're taking too long to tell me this message. I've just stopped listening. So you have to know their language. And this also goes down to the five love languages. Yes. You know, understanding the love language of someone else. And when you can communicate to them in their love language, you are more likely to get a result than if you communicate in your love language, because they don't get it.
Mm. And I like that turnaround, because in the past I would have gone, no, excuse me, they've got to understand me, you know, rather than actually, no, I can take responsibility and go, no, how can I understand them as well? Because let's face it, it's a two-way thing in the end. And some people actually don't want to open up or understand. But if you can turn that around, because again, it's about us as individuals taking responsibility for who we are. So coming back to our immune systems. Are you still there with me?
I'm back now.
We're just back now.
My phone rang, and I'm hotspotting, so it dropped out. But it might ring again, because it's my mechanic, but that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, and I just think it's okay. I think coming back to what you're saying, it's as individuals, it's up to us to take responsibility for everything, our immune system, how we speak out, how do we support someone else. And because often we can also get self-righteous or hurt or blame. Yes. All these things can come up. Because I would have once upon a time said, "How? Excuse me. No, I'm not going to say to them, understand them. They need to understand me." And perhaps that's also comes with youth and being younger rather than being the older, mature woman. So there is an advantage being the elder person. You know, because it is about that. And I think when we can get into that space, oh my God, isn't there just a free flow in your life?
Yes.
There's an acceptance of each other. Because I've learned, if I want to be visible, I need to be visible myself. If I want someone to accept me, well, I need to not only accept myself, but to accept them. And sometimes, as I keep saying, has to come back. Sometimes it is from us.
Correct. Actually, it's always from us. As you say, we've got to take responsibility of how we grow up in the world. And when we're taking responsibility, we are actually communicating to the level that they need to be communicated to, instead of going, well, no, you just understand me.
Yeah.
We could, by doing that, but just by going, well, you just need to understand me, we've actually just given away our power and our responsibility.
Exactly right.
It's up to you to understand what I'm saying, rather than going, hang on, I'm going to accept the responsibility that I want to communicate, so I need to communicate in a way that they can understand what I've got to say. It's coming from me.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And I love it, because then you don't realize, I didn't realize once I started going to that space, my world changed. My world really changed. My relationships changed. And sometimes it wasn't easy, because I had to bite my tongue. Well, you know, I was a bit, excuse me. Why me? You know, because that's still a little bit of that child coming out. So, you know. No, it's been really wonderful. Now, did you want to speak anything more about food? Because I'm sort of thinking...
I'll quickly do food, because we've been going for nearly an hour.
I know, as we do.
So, really, really briefly, when the immune boosting foods is lots and lots of vegetables, basically fresh, whole foods. Yeah. If you can't get organic, that's okay, because at the moment it might be a bit hard to get organic food. But if you can't get organic, then just wash your veggies just to clean the pesticides and chemicals off. You can do that by either putting a couple of teaspoons of bicarb soda into some water and just let it sit, or, and there's no taste to that, or you can do a brown vinegar or an apple cider vinegar in water, but this might leave a little bit of taste, so you have to rinse that off again. So there are ways that you can remove the chemicals. So lots of vegetables. Specific foods, garlic and onion are really good for boosting the immune system. Ginger, is really good for boosting the immune system. Lemons, so citrus, but in particular, lemons is really good. Honey, raw honey, not processed honey, really good for the immune system. Mushrooms, lots of different types of mushrooms. The Chinese use the mushrooms all the time. They use them as medicinal herbs. So mushrooms. So there's lots of different mushrooms. Your seaweeds, also really, really high in iodine and really great nutrients. So basically, lots and lots of whole foods. As I said before, sugar lowers the immune system. Your processed foods that are full of additives and preservatives and all of that lowers the immune system, because all of those chemicals are a stress on the body. And I shared before that when we have stress, we lower our immune system. So we need to be feeding foods that enhance our immune system, and that is not stressing the body. Vitamin D, if you can, get outside in the sunlight, as much sunlight as you can. Here in Australia, we are going into winter, but there is still sunlight. It's not much here in Sydney today because it's raining, but as much vitamin D, really good for boosting the immune system. Sleep, we need as much sleep as we can, because once again, that reduces our stress, it boosts our immune system. Movement, and particularly those who are the Energizer bunnies, they must be moving, but we also need to move, and ideally moving outside, getting some fresh air. If we can't be doing lots of long walks, we still can walk. We're still allowed to walk outside so long as we maintain the distance. So as much as possible, getting out into nature and move. We don't want to be, I know there's a bit of a meme going around about, basically sitting in front of Netflix, and don't stuff this up. We don't really need to be sitting in front of Netflix, because all that'll end up doing is we'll then start to eat foods that we're not supposed to, because you're sitting in front of television and you're not being mindful of the food you're eating, and you'll be eating foods that are not that good, because I don't think too many people are sitting there watching Netflix snacking on an apple.
Or a carrot.
Like or a carrot. If they are, that's fantastic. But most of them have got the chips and the chocolates and all of that out. So we need to move. Our bodies are designed to move. And if we're going to be actually stay at home for the next couple of months, it's really, really important we find ways to move. I know that my local yoga studio, we're doing online classes now. We must move. Our bodies were not designed to sit on our butts and do nothing. That's a bigger issue for inflammation than anything else, is we have to move in some way. So that's my summary of the other things you can do, but it is still really understanding that we listen to our body. And did mention at the beginning, I just will share, and I've been talking about personalised health a lot, and the company I work with is called PH360. And at the moment, PH360 is offering around the world a free 10-day immunity boost program. And it is completely personalised for every single person that registers, and it's free. And then after the 10 days, you continue to have 30 days access to the PH360 platform, which once again is personalised with the foods that you require for your body, the exercise, all that you need to know. So if anyone is interested in that, we did kick off today around the world, but you can start at any time, that's fine. If you go to my website, www.angelacounsel.com, and then click on the Work With Me tab at the top, that'll take you to another page, and it's the very first thing. It says Immune Booster. Click that and it'll take you through to register. Costs you nothing, no credit cards, no nothing, just name and email. And then, and as I said, it all opened up today, and then you'll get an email telling you what to do. So if anyone is interested, they can do that. And if you do decide to join, just let me know, because I'm giving extra support to my clients who are doing that program. There is a support coming from the company, but I'm giving extra support as well in my group. So yeah, so if anyone wants that, they can go and get it. It's free. But if not, it's just really reducing stress and feeding your body nutritious food. That's it in a basic. Reduce stress, feed yourself properly, get outside, get some fresh air, get some sunlight, sleep well. Oh, and drink water. I forgot that.
Yes,
Make sure you're drinking lots of water.
Yes, lots of fluid. Absolutely, yes. I agree. Yes. Thank you, Angela. What I'd like to suggest you do is perhaps put that link, if you don't mind, in the comments on Facebook as well. So then people have that too. Wow, wow, wow. I'm going to go back and go through this to summarize it to put on YouTube and that, but that was just amazing. So thank you to everyone who was watching, replay, comments. Thank you, Angela, for your time. I seriously appreciate that.
No problems. I love doing it.
I can tell. I can really, really tell. And I just love the way it's just fluid. It just flows. And I knew we would flow together as we always do, sorry.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Pleasure. And better get back to my wall. I didn't have any in that time. It was too exciting. Okay, lots of love and thank you, Angela. See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.